Let me paint you a picture. You are a federal judge. One of the most respected, most experienced judges in the entire United States court system. You have seen everything. Corporate fraud. Political scandals. Multi-billion-dollar disputes. Nothing shocks you anymore. And then, Blake Lively walks into your courtroom. And suddenly your inbox is getting bombarded at 11 o'clock at night. 70-page documents land on your desk. Heavily redacted. Full of filler. Pages and pages of absolutely nothing, with maybe 3 actual pages buried somewhere in the middle containing real legal arguments. And then it happens again the next night. And the night after that. And the night after that. Until one day, you have had enough. And you look directly at Blake Lively's legal team and say words that no attorney ever wants to hear from a federal judge. Enough. I have enough information. Stop. Welcome back to the Marquee Report. I am your host. And today we are covering the moment that officially ended Blake Lively's legal strategy, the moment a federal judge got so fed up with the non-stop theatrics that he shut the whole thing down. And the thing Blake wanted most, the tens of millions of dollars in attorney fees she was desperately trying to force other people to pay, denied. Gone. Done. Over. And now, according to multiple reports, Blake Lively is absolutely furious. And the details coming out about exactly how this all collapsed are so wild, so messy, and so revealing about what was really going on behind the scenes of this entire legal war, that by the time we get to the end of this video, you are going to look at this entire situation completely differently. We are talking about 70-page midnight filings. California law being used in New York courts over a movie filmed in New Jersey. A desperate attempt to force women, to pay Blake's legal bills. An NDA demand that Justin Baldoni flat out refused to sign. A Met Gala appearance so tone-deaf it became its own controversy. And a settlement that gave Blake Lively absolutely none of what she actually wanted. Grab your drink. Sit down. Because this story goes deep. Let's start with the money. Because that is what this final chapter of the Blake vs. Baldoni saga ultimately came down to. After months of the most expensive, most dramatic, most publicly scrutinized celebrity legal battle in recent memory, Blake Lively's team made one final push. They wanted Justin Baldoni, his production company, and others connected to the case to pay for Blake's attorney fees. And we are not talking about a small number here. Reports suggest the combined legal costs of this entire war reached somewhere between $60 million and potentially even higher. Hollywood-level money. The kind of number that makes even wealthy celebrities start losing sleep. Blake's team reportedly attempted to use California Civil Code Section 47.1 to recover those fees. Now, that law was specifically created to protect genuine survivors from being financially destroyed by retaliatory lawsuits. Its entire purpose was to give real victims a financial shield so they could not be bankrupted for speaking up. But here is where critics immediately pounced. Because Blake's team was trying to apply California law, in a New York federal court, over a movie that was primarily filmed in New Jersey. And when that argument started looking shaky, similar legal strategies reportedly began appearing in Texas proceedings too. Legal commentators online had one word for it. Desperation. It looked less like a principled legal argument and more like a team frantically scanning every single state's laws trying to find whichever one gave them the best chance of making somebody else pick up the bill. And the judge saw through it immediately. Because Judge Lewis Lyman, according to insiders following this case closely, was already deeply frustrated long before the attorney fees battle reached its peak. The midnight filings. The 70-page documents stuffed with so much filler that the actual legal arguments were buried somewhere around page 67. The constant motions. The endless letters. The relentless pressure. At one point the judge reportedly told Blake's team, in language that was as close to exasperated as federal judges ever get publicly, to stop. He had enough information. He did not need another filing. He did not need another letter. He needed Blake Lively's legal team to sit down and let the process work. Judges do not say that often. And when they do, it means something. Now here is the part that really made public opinion shift, because it was not just the legal strategy that started looking questionable. It was who Blake's team was allegedly targeting with these aggressive tactics. According to multiple reports surrounding the case, Blake was not only pursuing Justin Baldoni financially. She was also allegedly targeting female PR professionals and witnesses connected to the case who simply did not have the financial resources to defend themselves against Hollywood-level legal warfare. Let that land for a second. Blake Lively, who spent the entire public phase of this controversy positioning herself as a brave woman standing up against powerful men in Hollywood, was allegedly using that same legal machine to go after women who could not afford to fight back. And people noticed. Oh, people absolutely noticed. Because the image Blake had carefully constructed for herself throughout this entire saga was built entirely on the foundation of being a champion for women. That was the narrative. That was the emotional core of her entire public strategy. And then reports started emerging about aggressive legal pressure being applied to female PR executives and witnesses, and suddenly the narrative developed a massive crack right down the middle. Critics online were brutal about the contradiction. And honestly, it was hard to argue with them. Because there is something deeply uncomfortable about someone wrapping themselves in the language of women's empowerment while simultaneously allegedly weaponizing the legal system against women who lacked the financial power to protect themselves. The judge reportedly noticed the pattern too. And insiders suggest that the aggressive overreach of Blake's legal strategy, particularly the targeting of individuals far less financially powerful than Blake and Ryan Reynolds, contributed significantly to the court's growing irritation with how the entire case was being conducted. Now let's talk about the man who was apparently right in the middle of all of this, until suddenly he wasn't. Ryan Reynolds. According to reports that emerged during the legal proceedings, Ryan was not just a supportive husband watching from the sidelines. He was allegedly deeply involved. Rewriting scripts. Influencing promotional campaigns. Using his production company Maximum Effort to help shape the public narrative around Justin Baldoni during the peak of the controversy. Reports claim Ryan was fully in the trenches, helping Blake manage this war behind the scenes with everything he had. And then, the moment the public narrative started shifting, Ryan Reynolds vanished. While Blake was out there facing reporters, navigating awkward red carpet appearances, and dealing with the daily avalanche of negative headlines, Ryan Reynolds was reportedly in Bermuda. Attending sailing events. Smiling for cameras. Living his best life like none of this was happening. The optics were absolutely brutal. Because for years, Blake and Ryan sold the public the most carefully constructed perfect couple image in Hollywood. The funny interviews. The adorable red carpet moments. The social media banter. The whole package. They made people genuinely believe they were watching something real and authentic. But during Blake's biggest public crisis, the moment she allegedly needed that partner most visibly, Ryan Reynolds disappeared faster than anyone could track. And people asked the obvious question that nobody in Blake's camp could answer cleanly. If Blake was truly innocent, if she was genuinely being unfairly targeted like they publicly claimed, then why did the man who allegedly helped orchestrate the entire legal and PR strategy suddenly have absolutely nothing to say once the pressure became public? That question has never been properly answered. And it probably will not be. If there was one single moment that crystallized everything the public had come to feel about Blake Lively during this controversy, it was the Met Gala. Because just hours after settlement developments became public knowledge, Blake Lively arrived at the Met Gala. Big smiles. Cameras flashing. Fashion interviews. Acting like the most stressful celebrity legal battle in recent memory had simply never happened. And then she started talking about her custom purse. Specifically, a tiny luxury crystal-covered accessory that she described as being inspired by her children's artwork. An emotional creative story. A touching personal detail designed to humanize her in a moment where public sympathy was already evaporating fast. Except, the internet immediately started doing what the internet does best. People found out the luxury designer had already been making those exact kinds of custom bags for wealthy clients for years. Then they found out that similar versions of the bag were available for purchase, for approximately $10,000. $10,000. For a purse. Being discussed as a deeply emotional personal statement, while Blake was simultaneously claiming legal and emotional hardship from a $60 million court battle she desperately wanted other people to pay for. The contrast was so jarring, so spectacularly tone-deaf, that even people who had been willing to give Blake the benefit of the doubt throughout the entire controversy finally gave up. Because you cannot talk about emotional stress and financial pressure while casually carrying $10,000 accessories and expect the public not to notice the gap between those two realities. The internet did not let it go. And honestly, it should not have. But here is the moment that truly revealed how desperate things had become behind the scenes. The NDA. According to insiders familiar with settlement negotiations, Blake and Ryan desperately wanted one specific thing included in the final agreement. A full non-disclosure agreement. They reportedly wanted Justin Baldoni permanently and legally silenced from ever publicly discussing what happened, during production of It Ends With Us, during the legal battle, during all of it. Forever. Gone. Silenced. And Justin Baldoni, along with his wife Emily, said no. Flat. No. Absolutely not. Reports claim Emily Baldoni played a significant role in holding firm during what were reportedly intense negotiations. The message from their side was simple and clear. No NDA, or no deal. We are not signing away Justin's ability to tell his own story. And Blake Lively had to accept it. Think about what that moment actually means. Because Blake and Ryan, two of the most powerful, most carefully brand-managed celebrities in Hollywood, could not force a settlement that included silence. The one thing they reportedly wanted most. The one protection that would have let them fully control the narrative going forward. Gone. And now, Justin Baldoni can talk whenever he wants. About whatever he wants. To whoever he wants. Which is exactly why Hollywood insiders are already buzzing about what comes next. Because reports are circulating about potential interviews, documentary projects, streaming deals, and book offers, with some insiders claiming Justin could receive millions for a comprehensive tell-all about everything that allegedly happened behind the scenes of It Ends With Us and the legal war that followed. People would absolutely watch it. Every single minute of it. And then there is the Vital Voices situation. Because this one genuinely shocked a lot of people following the case. Vital Voices is a respected nonprofit organization focused on women's empowerment and advocacy. Justin Baldoni had received a public award from them recognizing his work supporting women and girls. A real honor. Publicly announced. And then, almost immediately after Blake filed her legal complaint, the organization revoked the award publicly. People immediately started connecting dots. Because Blake Lively reportedly followed the organization online. And critics began loudly speculating about whether powerful Hollywood connections had influenced the timing of the revocation. No private conversations could be proven. But the timing, the perfect, almost surgical timing, made the speculation impossible to contain online. To many people following the story, it stopped looking like coincidence and started looking like a coordinated hit. Award given. Allegations filed. Award publicly revoked. Reputation destroyed overnight. All within an extraordinarily compressed timeframe. And once that pattern became visible, the public started seeing the entire situation through a completely different lens. Here is the brutal final accounting of this entire disaster. Because when you look at where every single person involved ended up, the results are genuinely stunning. Blake Lively wanted attorney fees. Denied. She wanted Justin silenced. Refused. She wanted a dramatic courtroom victory she could point to publicly. Never happened. She wanted her image intact. Shattered. Ryan Reynolds wanted to stay in the background while controlling the narrative. Instead, he became one of the most talked about figures in the entire scandal, for all the wrong reasons. Colleen Hoover got pulled into the fallout against her will, publicly appeared to choose sides too quickly, and watched a portion of her enormous reader base turn against her for abandoning Justin before the full picture emerged. And Justin Baldoni, the man most people assumed was finished the moment these accusations became public, walked away without signing an NDA. Without admitting wrongdoing. Without being silenced. And with more public sympathy than he started with. That is not the ending Blake Lively's team planned. Not even close. A judge so exhausted he told Blake's team to stop filing. Attorney fees denied. An NDA refused. Ryan Reynolds sailing in Bermuda. A $10,000 purse at the Met Gala. And Justin Baldoni walking away free to tell his story whenever he is ready. This was supposed to be Blake Lively's moment of vindication. Instead, it became one of the most spectacular examples of a Hollywood PR strategy completely collapsing under the weight of its own contradictions. And the story is nowhere near finished. Drop your thoughts in the comments right now. Did Blake deserve to lose those attorney fees? Will Justin Baldoni ever do that tell-all? And where does Ryan Reynolds go from here? I want every single opinion you have got. Hit subscribe. Hit the bell. And I will see you in the next one at the Marquee Report.